Hey everyone, this is Max at MaxyTCG. Thanks for joining me in another video. So in this video, we're going over a new Yu-Gi-Oh organization article. We have Primoredial, a new archetype that's being released in Rage of the Abyss. So we've unearthed the power of Primoredial. This here, dragons of jewels and precious metals. It says Genseki means literal ore, but due to this being a very short phrase included in larger words like more, we chose to expand the theme name to prevent misunderstandings with other cards. So I don't know if that means this is just going to change from the Japanese translation that they're assuming, but there might be some name changes, so don't get too attached to these names. So we have Imperial Dragon, the Primordial Dragon, level 6 Earth Dragon effect monster, attack 2600, defense 0. Requires 1 normal tribute to normal summon. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. During your opponent's main phase quick effect, you can reveal this card in your hand. Immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 Primordial monster. If this card is tribute summoned, you can apply these effects in sequence. Negate the effect of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. Banish all monsters your opponent controls with the same type and or attribute as the normal monster in your graveyard. Hey everyone, this is Editing Max. If you're enjoying the content, hit that thumbs up button, give the video a like, and leave a comment if you have any discussions you want to start, and consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more of this type of content. Everyone, thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy, and we'll get back into it. Right, so this archetype looks like it's probably going to be focused around normal monsters, so that's always a little bit of an issue just because they're not good cards. So they don't do enough, they don't do anything. There's cards to cheat them out, and sometimes you can get a lot out of them, like with the Sun Avalon archetype that takes 1 normal monster with a lot of ways to access it and makes it into a huge play. So that's good to know, that there are ways to make normal monsters really good. We're going to have to see if this archetype can push this. This card does seem pretty solid for what it's trying to do. The question is, it's going to be enough. Because I think what it's doing, a quick effect where you reveal in hand, you can normal summon this, right away. And then if this card is tribute summoned, by getting rid of a normal monster, you can negate monsters' effects on the field. There is kind of one issue with this though. So I think one of the problems is that your opponent's going to get the first priority action in the main phase, and this isn't going to work on trigger effects. So let's say, for example, in this current format, your opponent summons Sanke-Eye Ash. If you trigger this to the summon of Sanke-Eye Ash, they normal summon, they get their effect, you summon. Sanke-Eye Ash is going to still get its effect to summon, and then you'll negate it because of how the chains are going to work. It'll resolve, and then you will resolve in a new chain negating it, but it's already used its effect to at least search, so you won't be able to send with it. I think one situation you can consider using this in against Sanke-Eye, for example, since you can't just negate the Sanke-Eye Ash from activating, which kind of sucks. What you could do is you can let them resolve Sanke-Eye Ash, they search Poplar. Poplar effects activates in hand, you trigger your effect to activate in hand, you resolve the chain, so you summon your guy tributing one of your normal monsters. In this case, you'd want it to be a fire or a pyro type. Fire probably being better since it's more hitting to like Tempai and other decks. And then what you can do is, after that happens, you will then go to a new chain. Poplar will resolve first because they're the turn player, and then yours will resolve second. You will negate the Poplar and negate the Ash, so that's good. They can't use the Ash to send the Poplar to get out the Flameburst Dragon. But then if you use the Fire, you can banish one of them. So if you want to stop them from having Poplars, in scale effect to potentially use to extend with other cards, you can get rid of that. And the Ash is already negated, so you could potentially leave that on field. But then if they're able to bring the Ash back from the grave, they can still use the send effect. So it kind of depends on what you want to get rid of there. So in that situation, I don't think the card's bad. I think the tricky part is, how many normal monsters are you going to want to play? Do you want to play normal monsters that have a mixture to the current meta? Right now, that'd just be fire. A fire monster would be great because that hits Tempai, it hits fire, it hits Rescue Ace, it hits Salamangre, it hits a lot of different decks that do see some play right now, or a lot of play depending on the format. Maybe you side deck potentially a few other normals that you swap in. I guess it really depends how many you're playing and how well you want to be able to hit different matchups. Maybe a light normal could be good versus some, or a dark normal. Maybe you just play one of each and you just try to cheat out those monsters, and maybe you side 1 or 2 others for other matchups. I'm not sure how you go about it, but this is definitely an interesting card. I think just the concern is, will these do enough? So I'm liking the first card and what it does so far. So next we have Primoredial Imperialode. It's a continuous spell. You can only use the first and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. When this card resolves, add 1 Primordial card from your deck to your hand except Primoredial Imperialode. Second, normal monsters and Primordial monsters you control gain 300 attack for each normal monster in your grave with different names. 3, you can declare one normal monster name, special summon one normal monster with that name from your hand, deck, and or graveyard, also you cannot activate special summon monster effects for the rest of this turn. So this is a really solid card overall, because 1, it's a searcher, which is always good, and it's a continuous searcher, so you get that recursion every turn, which I think a deck like this probably needs to have a continuous searcher, but it's also a way to special summon from deck and or grave. So if you draw the normal monster, it's not stuck in your hand. If you can special summon out this way. The one thing though is it locks you from being able to activate special summon monster effects for the rest of the turn, but it doesn't stop you from special summoning. So I guess if you're playing like some Exceeds, you could potentially normal summon one normal, special summon out the other, link into an Exceed that has like a lingering effect, like a Dweller or something, and then use it on the opponent's turn. So that could be an option. It also lets you get to your normal summon, so more ways to get a normal summon monster without actually having to play a lot of them in your deck, which would be ideal. So overall, this is a really solid card for the archetype, and in other decks, this would be pretty crazy still, I think, for a lot of them, even if they can't activate special summon effects after this point. Like, it's still a good way to get into cards and potentially set up plays, because it's for the rest of the turn. So you could still potentially like set up your play, search something that searches a trap. If you kind of get hand trapped into the ground, you know, there's still something with this. I think this is a very good card. Just the question is this good enough with normal monsters? So very good card for the archetype. And let's see what else they have. So you have Primordial Tremors, quick play spell. Pay 2,000 life points and declare one normal monster name. Apply this effect, then if you control no monsters, you can special summon one normal monster with the declared name from your deck in defense position. Once applied, your primordial monsters and normal monsters with the declared name cannot be destroyed by battle till the end of your opponent's turn. If your opponent normal summons a monster, you can banish this card from your grave, then target one normal monster you control, or in your graveyard, banish one monster on the field with lower attack. Alright, so again, a good quick play spell. You know, quick play spells are one of the strongest in the game. You can declare this and get one of your normal monsters on field. So again, another way to get to a normal monster without playing a lot of them. So that's good. You can also bring out, maybe other primordial monsters. Right now we only have one, so ideally we'll get more in the future. And maybe that will be useful that we can do that. You can also prevent them from being destroyed by battle to the end of your opponent's turn. So maybe ways to survive with that, which seems pretty decent. If your opponent normal summons a monster, you get the option to banish one of their cards, which is nice. You can banish this from your grave, target a monster, normal monster you control or in your grave, banish one monster on the field with lower attack. So that's really cool that you can potentially get rid of one of the monsters. That can be really helpful. That has that removal effect and ability to special summon out. So another way to kind of set up that kind of nuking effect that we're seeing. So that's pretty cool. So I like that it has that dual utility. I think this type of deck needs all the help it can get, unfortunately, just due to the way it's designed. And next we have Primoredial Opener. It's a normal trap card. Declare one normal monster name, apply this effect, then if you control no monsters, you can special summon one normal monster with the declared name from your deck or grave. Once applied, you take no battle damage from battles involving your normal monsters with the declared name and primordial monsters this turn. During your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one normal monster you control, or in your graveyard, take control one monster your opponent controls with higher attack until the end phase. So again, this seems like a really solid card. You can use this to get one of your normal monsters out again, and then you also get to steal your opponent's monsters, so you don't even need to do a lot to get this to work. Hey everyone, this is Editing Max. If you're enjoying the content and you want to support the channel, you can check out the TCG affiliate link in the description below. It supports the channel and costs you nothing, and you'll just be doing the same thing you normally do when you buy cards from TCG Player. If you're new to buying cards from TCG Player, check out my website. I have a section on it that helps out new people, kind of explaining some of the aspects of TCG Player, so that way you can get the most out of your money and you don't fall into some of these weird things that some people do to push up the price of cards. If you want to become a patron on the channel, check out my Patreon. It's another way you can help support the channel. We have different perks you can check out, like a lot of archetype proxies you see on the screen. Every week, I put a new one out that everyone on the channel can vote on YouTube, and then these go to Patreon for you to print out. You can also join for early access. Some videos would be 1 day early access, others that are in a longer series could be weeks out in advance, and you can get the entire thing at once, while everyone on YouTube has to wait week by week for all the videos to come out. You can also join for an exclusive Yu-Gi-Oh! Reaction series where I watch through the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, we have discussions in the comments, and watch through it together as well. Plus, there are other perks coming out in the future. Everyone, thanks again for watching the content. So overall, this is a very solid set of cards for this archetype. I think every single one of these cards are playable. Every single one of these are good. I think the real question is, do you have enough to make this a playable strategy? Because you really only have 6 ways to get into this guy right now, which I think is a little bit rough. You have him, and then you have this card to search it. So I think that makes it a little bit harder to kind of use this card's effect. Or you have a special summon from deck, you have a banish negate, and you also have another special summon from deck with a ability to take control of one of your opponent's monsters. So this is very solid. I just don't know if there's enough here to build a strategy around it. I think you'd want at least more ways. So like, I guess Pot of Prosperity is 9. You don't need your extra deck. You'd want more ways to get to this card and to kind of have your normal monster setup. But definitely seems some really good cards. A couple of things that come to mind with this is that Spiral archetype, not the agent one, but the normal monster one with the field spell and utilizing normal monsters and searching. I think that could have a lot of really good synergy with this strategy, which is cool. So I think that could be really interesting to see some play here. So I think there's some really interesting options for this strategy, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it and what more support they get. You know, let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is a good archetype? Do you think using normal monsters just kills it and it's really never get anywhere? Do you think it maybe has some legs and can do something? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Love to hear what you guys are thinking on these new reveals, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.